under, but who'd have thought? Charlie Wee then. His progress looks like this. Super start, birdie, one mistake at the fourth, but under par in these breezy conditions at Colonial, bearing in mind it's par 70. It's not going to lose you any ground today, that's for sure, particularly if you're up amongst the last pairings. Charlie Wee, have you come across him, you know him, Paul?
Yeah, I played a lot with Charlie over the years, yeah. Played particularly early 2000s, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, and to be honest, he was a very average player. Didn't have a lot of success, struggled to make cuts on the Asian Tour, struggled to keep his card on the Asian Tour. But a really nice guy, and I used to play practice rounds with him. I got to know him. He's from California and knows a lot of the places and people that I know, and befriended him. And then Charlie went off. I didn't see him for a year. I didn't play the Malaysian Open one year, and I was watching on TV, and Charlie, I saw one swing, and it was like, whoa, Charlie, what have you done to your swing? And he went on and win that tournament, and it's since been the stack and tilt. It's not a system that I'm.
You're willing to endorse?
No. I mean, everybody to their own. But
yeah, sure.
It certainly worked for Charlie because I can see what it's done to Charlie's game. It's turned him around. Charlie was a pull hooker. He took the club very much inside, across the line, released it a lot with the hands, and had a very vicious hook in his bag. And since he's gone to this stack and tilt, all I can say is that, you know, he's gone from step to step to step, and more success, and great to see. He's a really nice fella, a really nice guy, and loves the game, loves to practice, loves to talk about it, and he endorses very much the stack and tilt, and there's a lot of success with it.
It's amazing, Simon, isn't it, when you can be, like Paul said, a player that he's not very good, it slaps a ball over the golf course, and then you find a way, whatever it is, you find a way to reinvent yourself as a player, and you're able to make it work. Become a different player, in effect, really.
Yeah, you know, there are, I suppose you at the very, very top level, I think, you know, you can see a young, an 18-year-old Ricky Fowler. Faldo was fantastic, you know, the really class players, but you do have the odd surprise, almost an overachiever. I mean, the guy who was always amazing to me was Tom Kite. I mean, it didn't seem to me that, you know, you watch him hit balls, it wasn't particularly solid, but yet he won a US Open, he never really was out of position. A guy like Charlie Wee finds a thought or finds a swing,
a way of playing
system that gives him a shot pattern, and then he's mentally strong enough to be able to just go out and play golf and as you can see, compete extremely well.
Was he always a good putter, Charlie Wee?
No, he's a poor putter, actually.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'd put him down as a poor putter. Really, very tentative. That's what I know about Charlie. You're disagreeing, you're laughing
No,
at that.
I'm not. I'm just saying he couldn't really hit it.
Yeah.
He couldn't really putt.
Yeah.
Well, as I say, he had no chance. He was struggling. He wasn't making cuts in the Asian Tour, and you know, I used to feel sorry for him. He was a great guy, and you wanted to see him around at the weekends. I used to have dinner with him regularly, and I always looked to see if Charlie would make the cut and hang around for the weekend. And he missed more cuts than he did on the Asian Tour. And as I say, then all of a sudden, as you say, it was like a light switch went on when he went to this stack and tilt system. And he won straight away. He won the Malaysian Open within 6 months of starting to do it. And the next time I saw him, he had a big smile on his face, and he was all excited, and still is to this day. And he defends a lot the stack and tilt guys who get a lot of stick in America in the media over there. And Charlie's always the man standing defending them. And all credit to him, delighted for him. He's done very well. He's got his card down on the American Tour, and then he got in the top 100 on the money list, and then he got up to the top 70. Nothing went straight up very quickly, but he's slowly getting there. And I've been watching for his results all the time on the PGA Tour, and he's honing in. Don't be surprised if Charlie ends up winning this. He's the kind of player who could win around here. He's a very steady player.
Do you still keep in contact with him?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah, he's just one of the game's really nice guys. Everybody likes Charlie. He's a nice, mellow guy and knows everybody, and has been around quite a while, and is only having his success now, having been sort of 15 years as a professional. And
he's not a big guy. I mean, you surprised me and told me that Brandt Snedeker was 6'4", which he certainly doesn't look it on the television. Charlie doesn't look like he's a very tall guy. I don't think he is he, Paul? How tall would he be?
Everybody's tall compared to me, yeah. he's
do you look at him eye line, or do you look up slightly?
He's a little bit taller than me, yeah. I'd say he's about 5'9", maybe.
So he's 5'9", slightly built, can't hit it and can't putt. And yet we're talking about a guy here who's got a chance of winning here at Colonial this week.
Which is great, because it just goes to show that, you know, you don't have to be fantastic at everything in golf. It's just a key that if your weaknesses are quite good and there's not a huge amount of difference between your best and your worst, so your good shots and bad shots are more or less like the scatter pattern's pretty tight. If you can manage that scatter pattern, you can manage your way around the golf course. You do have to be probably, you know, fairly strategic in the holes you attack or the pins you attack, but you know, take your chances when they come, knock in even, you know, some of your opportunities, and you're up there.
If you're going to win, if Charlie's going to win this week, he's going to have to putt better than he normally puts. There's no doubt about that. You know, if you win, you do putt extremely well, and there's nothing to say to Charlie this mightn't be his week on the greens, and he'll hold a few more putts than he normally would. But you'll see him, he's very mechanical in his putting. Very, very mechanical. So he relies very heavily that if his technique is not quite right in the putter, he's all jumpy, he's all round, right. And he's very tentative with his putts. That's what I remember about Charlie. Very rarely gets to the hole. It's just about getting to the hole all the time. And you know, if it's windy here today, and you know, par's not a bad score on every hole, then Charlie could make a nice little bit of progress up there and place himself nicely for tomorrow.
Well, you're not missing any golf at home because CBS are in some sort of a break, so they're not showing us any. When we get a shot, you will see it. We've just had an email from Mark Hyde, who asked Simon, what is stack and tilt? Because we just assume that everybody knows what it is, but what is it?
Stack and tilt is a sort of a derivative of Mac O'Grady's teaching, and it was created by two really, really lovely blokes, Andy Plummer and Mike Bennett. Mike Bennett is a superb ball striker, so he actually he can back it up. But anyway, I guess in a way it's a type of pivot movement where, as opposed to the traditional movement where the left side sort of moves into the right side, so you're sort of loading your right foot and then unloading it, is sort of a more traditional movement. This is very much where the weight shift stays centered, even hanging left, sort of to the ball. You see the guys practicing sort of a straight right leg, more of a flexed left leg, so that they really are stacking up on top of the ball, and hence the tilt. And then there's more sort of, instead of rotation through the ball, there's more thrust through the ball. And I think for short irons, my opinion anyway, for what it's worth, is you see, let's have a look at his right leg there, you sort of see it's going to straighten and come through. So it's very much sort of a pretty steep angle of attack. And I think with a short iron, sort of 6-iron, and to the wedges, it makes sense. What is a challenge for me to see is how you hit a modern golf ball with a modern driver from such a sort of descending angle of attack. That's the challenge.
David Toms, well, it was clear as mud, but we got there.
Thank you. I was going to say clear as mud.
And that's how Toms approached the 7th.
Second so far this year in fairways hit and also in greens and regulation. It's a pretty good cocktail right there. Now live. Longest putt he holed yesterday was 17 feet 6 inches with the 8 birdies. He had 16 birdies, no bogeys in the first 2 rounds. Striking the ball beautifully as we move ahead to the 8th.
And Mark Wilson, after 6-iron shot on the par 3, this for birdie.
A little uphill, struggling to get there.